I spent 100 days inside of Lego Fortnite and it was actually pretty fun. I had a couple of goals I wanted to complete for these 100 days, such as maxing out my village to level 10, defeating at least one type of brute, and getting all epic tools, weapons, and equipment. I also wanted to create a functioning airplane, so stay tuned to watch me do that. This took an extremely long time to make, so if you do enjoy the video, please go ahead and subscribe, and give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy. Day 1. No, not that day 1. So day 1, we start off in a brand new world and we spawn in with Bright Bomber. She basically just gives you tips and tricks, but I think I can handle myself. It actually got dark pretty quick, which sucks, but before nightfall, I did create a campfire with some wood so I don't get cold. It was raining, but the fire doesn't extinguish, oddly enough. I was confused as a crafting bench needed granite to craft it, and I'd assume I'd need tools, but you can actually just grab granite off the floor with your bare hands. Like I said, the campfire does keep us warm, so for the nighttime, I did stay near it, as if not, I'd freeze my nuts off and die. So since I couldn't really do anything for our first night, I just had a little dance party with Bright Bomber to pass the time. Eventually, I did grab some berries 2 feet away, so I didn't starve to death, and honestly, screw Bright Bomber. All these berries are for me. Some skellies also spawned in, and I was actually terrified since I had no idea how much damage they would do. This is my first time playing the game. I think that wastes stamina. Dude, he's coming over here. Oh, he sees us. No. Oh, no, no, no. Stand up, you idiot. Oh, she's whacking him. With only 2.5 hearts left, I could not wait for this night to be over. I did get down to breaking some trees with my bare hands to build some shelter, but I was being careful since the cold does hurt you over time. With that, we started our very first build, this ugly ass shack. Although it's better than a dirt house in Minecraft. Building did take some time to get used to, but by day 2, we were already putting this shack together. Alright, simple shack. That looks like absolute shit, Bright Bomber. Why did you tell me to do this? Now, this light did appear, and I followed it, which, to be honest, this could have led me to my death for all I know. But I'm a curious dude, and I already died once. I ain't scared to death. Unfortunately, these do kind of suck, and it led me to a chest with pretty basic items. From there, I just roamed around a bit and gathered some materials, and then this happened. Where's the sun? What the? Oh, no! Listen, little bro, I'm not trying to kill you. Not that I can right now. You're probably poisonous. Get away from me. After those encounters, I made a workbench to make some tools, and builds place kind of weird with different angle terrain, so you have to make a ramp or steps. And I just use roofs for now. Now, when you do leave the game and come back, you do go into a new day, so that's a good way to skip the night, so now it was day 3. I made sure to farm up some raspberries for food and followed one of these lights again. This time though, it led to a llama, which I'm pretty sure was the only llama I have ever ran into within the 100 days. It was surrounded by new enemies, such as this roller who wanted to run me over, but I did find a crossbow from the llama, so I was able to get range damage on it and eventually axed it to death for a shell. But in the moment, I was shitting bricks, I promise you. To end the day, I did make a bed, but this won't make me sleep to pass the night. It just resets my spawn point. This bed is for me. What was that moan? Get out of here. What is he doing? This man is lucid dreaming right now about nachos. The following day, I made a lumber mill to make wooden rods and planks. Another thing I needed to do was start our village, and to do that, we needed a village square. But I thought food was more important at the time, so I decided to make a grill to cook some of the locals. And apparently, we don't need any charcoal for the grill. Must be an air fryer. By nightfall, I fought some baddies and practiced my aim with the crossbow. In order to upgrade the workbench to the next tier, I needed more shells, so I went to find a roller, and once we had that, we were ready. Also, the way mobs die in this game is hilarious. The next upgrade for the bench required me to go to the desert, but I don't know if I was ready for that just yet. Down the hatch once more, right in front of her face. I did end up creating a village square, and this way we won't be so lonely with Bright Bomber. And it wasn't too long for our first traveler to show up. I can pet it? He dropped me an egg. Aww. Haha, now I got 2 of you to rub the food in the face. With our first traveler, I think it opened up some more blueprints for building, so now we can create a double shack. So anyways, I needed more materials, so I set up to gather more wood, and I was still afraid of some of the enemies as I didn't know how tough they were, so I tried to stay away from them. With the wood I got, I plopped down my double shack and got to work. In no time, our little shack was coming together. It wasn't the prettiest, but it sure did do the trick. I put some beds in there as well for any new villagers that showed up. Speaking of which, the cool thing about villagers is they'll do different jobs for you, like cooking food, but they can also come exploring exploring with you and attack enemies. But even if they get killed, they're still a great distraction. But Beef Boss was handling his guys, and I felt a real bond that night. Yo, Beef Boss. I love you, bro. It wasn't long for another villager to come by, but this is when I learned that I needed to upgrade the village to get more villagers to join. So I needed more granite to get to a level 2 village so Aura could join us. But before that, I made this little lookout to, well, look over the village. And directly after this, we finally got the village to level 2. Leveling up the village gives us new builds each time, so this time I built this shack for Aura to live in. That is, if we had enough space for her. Level 3 opens up another villager slot, so it's gonna take some more time for more of them to stay permanently. You know, it sucks that I'm the only one doing the work around here, while my villagers do nothing for the village. I did go searching for materials to upgrade the village again, so Aura wouldn't leave, and while doing that, I nearly died. Oh my god, is that a frost spider? I'm almost dead. Oh, what does this do? Slurp juice. And to make things worse, Aura was gone by the time I got back. See how much work I did for her? And she just left? Bro, I swear the next time I see her, I'm going to break her neck. You guys are cool though. But screw her. We got Meowskulls who wants to join. So I hurried up with the upgrade, and now we were getting hardworking employees. I mean friends. Friends. Alright everybody, I would love to welcome Meowskulls into the village. Oh my god. Oh. Alright everybody, it's time for a good night rest. Do not leave your houses. The crime rate is very high right now. Burger, are you sure you want to sleep next to this guy? He might eat you. I don't know, do cats like burgers? I did make these benches so my new friends could sit down near the campfire. Unfortunately, I can't sit with them, but hey, I'm a busy axolotl. I also made this tent out of roofs from the build menu. Now, I did make the villagers do jobs, but these employees weren't too motivated with their minimum wage to actually do their jobs correctly. You made me one vine? What, your back hurts? You made me like 2 wooden rods, dude. What? Later that day, I did take on my first wolf and realized the enemies at the beginning of this game aren't all that, since you can just dodge their attacks with ease. We also had our first thunderstorm that day. What the? The village was pretty unsafe, so I started constructing a wall. And you're damn right I'm gonna make the skeletons pay for it. God, this game is beautiful when the sun's coming up. On day 11, we continued on building our massive wall, and at this point I had no idea the snap feature was a thing, so I had trouble placing some of these. And I also put these logs down whenever there were gaps in the builds. This project took me until day 12, but it was relatively simple, and now the village is a lot safer. Sort of. The skelly started spawning inside the village, but regardless, it looks good. I did think these logs were ugly, so I switched them out for these, which look a lot better. I ended up building another double shack, and this was basically going to be my storage area since I have a ton of bones and other mob drops. Plus, I needed a place to keep wood. Speaking of wood... Oh, crap. No! Oh, that chicken almost got his head decapitated. I felt like I needed a little log cabin in this village for myself, so I created this small one and it was pretty cozy. I even added some furniture to it. Once again, I used a ramp for the entrance to the village since the door was raised a little bit, and from here I needed to head to a cave for knot root in order to get our workbench upgraded to get better tools, and luckily there was a cave 30 feet from our village. Yeah, let's go in. Let's see what this is about. Oh no. Oh, this is scary. What is that noise? Sounds like a clicker. Luckily, Meowskulls joined us, so we're not so lonely down here. I farmed away on the knot root, and unfortunately, in order to do 100 days, I've just been counting when the sun comes up as a new day. And down here, I can't really keep track of that, so I was just kind of guessing when the next day was. So technically, this was probably more than 100 days in LEGO Fortnite. I also figured out a neat trick to repair tools by putting the damaged tools in a chest and then breaking the chest, and then they would be like brand new. Neat little glitch, but it doesn't actually work anymore. They just had to ruin the fun. But at least for a couple of the 100 days, I saved on materials with that trick. Sorry, Meowskulls, I got no food for you, but you got 9 lives, right? Now, although we did pop out of a different cave entrance, it wasn't too far from home. With that, we can upgrade to level 5, upgrade the village, Level 5 would just be 20 planks and marble. With Naru, I can now get an uncommon sword as well as an uncommon pickaxe, which you'd think would speed up mining, but this pickaxe sucks balls. I did try to light some of our houses with candles, but to be honest, they don't really light up jack shit. What's the point of these? Torches weren't that much better either, but they are fun to throw around. Unfortunately, I did need to go back into the caves for marble to upgrade the village once more. I really thought this was just regular stone. These new stairs do make it easier to grab a lot of the ores and rocks in caves though, so it's less of a pain now. Oh! Oh my god! They killed him! Bro, they killed me, Auscos. They killed my boy. Oh my god. Oh, you're back. Well, that was anticlimactic. Once that trip was over, I built a watchtower to replace the little lookout we had, and we had enough materials to upgrade the village once again. This gives us another villager spot as well as some new houses like this bungalow, which I wanted to build on top of this mountain. This was going to be my personal house, although I never actually ended up using it ever again, but it was a project nonetheless. I was going to need a lot of materials for this house, but first, the stone cutter. This was needed to upgrade the village since we needed granite slabs, and finally Aura joined us, so I immediately put her butt to work farming wood with us. But this feature is pretty lackluster as there's always a delay when they farm with you, so by the time they start swinging their axe, you're probably one chop away from breaking the tree. Bummer, but hey, they gotta make a wage somehow in my town. Regardless, it didn't take long for another level to the town. We remove it. This makes no sense. I can't use this, the woodcutter, in rain, but I can use a grill in rain. That makes no sense. It's honestly surprising that all the way to a level 7 village, it's really easy, considering there's only 10 levels. After this, it was time to head to another biome, because we needed rough amber for the next upgrade. And I heard the desert is a lot more difficult than the grasslands. Since I was getting more buildings, I figured we needed to expand more east, so I started building more walls. Building was getting more smooth, so this didn't take me long at all. There was one problem though, and that's the fact that the village square is quite literally a square and it has a border, so basically no villagers can live outside this border, so the east side of the village was just going to be extra buildings for show, and maybe a farm for berries. I come in peace. Please don't hurt me. I come in peace. I come in peace. I come in peace. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Well, I tried to come in peace. Now I did start building my bungalow atop this mountain, and it took a lot of granite to complete, but once it was done, she was beautiful. It's kind of sad that I forgot about her after this. But we had more important things to do, like constructing town hall for important meetings on how Meowscles needs to stop trying to eat Durburger while he's sleeping. Naturally, I did run out of resources like I always do, since it takes forever to get a plethora of materials in this game. So in the meantime, I took a trip to the desert to get my mind off things. I was here for one thing, and that was amber. But while here, I saw my first brute, and I just know that one single punch would send me back to my cozy little bed in an instant. Luckily, I didn't let my intrusive thoughts win, so I didn't shoot it with an arrow. Okay, I lied. Intrusive thoughts won. What the? Meowscles, let's go. Exactly, we have everything we need for a level 8 village, which is perfect. Level 9 next. Flex wood, found in Dry Valley. Cut amber, which is refined rough amber. And obsidian, which is found in lava caves. So we are not going to get this upgrade to the village for a while. And with that new village upgrade, we got this pleasant park house I can build in the corner. I'm building this village from the ground up. And then they want to ask for food? Yeah, right. You know, it'd be crazy if they had a rebellion against me. Now, per usual, I ran out of resources, so I had to go get more, and when I came back, this guy named Otis wanted to move into our town. So of course, I welcomed him with open arms, but I made sure he knew he couldn't just slack off. So I made him a cook. And done. Done by nightfall. Roomy home. Now, I might be a horrible friend to Beef Boss for putting his bed next to the cat, but we all need to get along in this village. So hopefully Meowscles doesn't murder Beefy in cold sauce. Since we were finally getting some real housing, I decided to take these shacks down with my bare fists because I'm just built different. You know how much it hurts to fucking step on a Lego? And I'm punching Legos. His pain tolerance is through the roof, dude. Yeah, I gotta upgrade you, Aura. I really gotta upgrade you. It only hits him for 5. Oh no. Oh, he wants me. Oh, he's gonna fucking kill me. Oh my god. But I love poking. Oh my, what? Dude, have you ever thought about the NFL? I did go back to the desert to check it out for real this time, and I got a sand shell, almost died to a scorpion's explosion, and it was hot as hell in this place, so I had to turn around since it damages you if you're hot or if you're freezing. When I got back, Peely showed up to join the village, but unfortunately I just didn't have another villager slot, and this sucks because I really wanted the banana in our town. You know, in case we all start starving to death. Once it was nighttime, I did go back to the desert to get more sand wolf claws, and thankfully I brought this spicy burger as it was cold now. I also brought slurp potions, but little did I know that that would be my downfall. No! No, I died. No. Now the backpack does drop with all my stuff in it, but it takes super long to walk from base all the way out here. What the hell is Aura doing? You know how much strength you need to sleep like that? Jeez, I'm glad we chose you to be in the village. Now for some reason I never crafted a health charm, so my health has been super low. I guess I kind of forgot about these items. So that was my next chore. Well, first the workbench upgrade, since we got all the desert mob drops. Now we just need a spinning wheel to make some thread for these charms. And that's that. Finally, some more hearts. I probably needed to make those like 10 days ago. I saw this trick where if you stack these platforms on top of each other and then just break the one at the very bottom, you can push it and it'll break regular wood and granite, which is huge for saving materials on tools and more importantly, time. It saves so much time. I'd recommend doing this 100%. And at this point in the 100 days, the durability of tools were horrendous. They did change the durability later, but right now, tools were breaking immediately. So I harvested a ton of wood, got more hearts, and got more storage space with these new medium-sized chests. Apparently if you drop vines for the animals to eat, they give you a bunch of their drops. In this case, wool. Our final bench upgrade wasn't going to come for a long time as we not only needed obsidian and copper, but a brute scale, and there's no way I'm taking one of those things down anytime soon. So that's a bummer. But in order to prep for the harder enemies and go into lava caves, I snagged some snowberries from the snow biome. These create one of the best healing items in the game and will allow us to be in the caves without burning up from the heat. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, I made this log cabin as like a farmhouse to make different shakes and keep all of our berries and wheat and things of that nature. I figured these wooden floors would work great as stairs, and I also figured out the snap feature I was talking about earlier. Wow, that makes building so much easier. These wolves were pissing me off, and there just happens to be explosives nearby, so I decided to have a little fun. I really can't have anything, can I? Look at me, hard working, and then look at Beef Boss. And then there's me, breaking my back, working away. Look at my face, I'm grunting. The first thing I needed for our farmhouse is a grinder, and this will let us grind up any type of plant into the seed to regrow them. Perfect to get more snowberries without going back and forth to the snow biome. It is kind of annoying to make these soil patches because they require animal poop, so this farm was going to take me a while to fully complete. But for now, we did start growing these snowberries. And with that juicer, we should be able to make those shakes. All we need is some milk from this beautiful wild cow. And there we go. We got the best shake in the game. All right, this shack needs to go. Bombs away! That didn't do anything. Now this building was going to be for my spinning wheel as well as a loom, and man, I was getting way faster at building these builds. Jumbo Lodge complete. These wooden floors also look very nice in between the soil, and it functions good too as you can walk in between the aisles and pick berries as you go. And they really need to change the way the trees grow in this game. How is this growing in the middle of the lodge? With the spinning wheel, I was able to craft a recurve bow, which is a step up from the one I just found lying around in a chest. I checked up on Otis, who I put for cooking duty, and it had been a while since I last talked to him, and boy did he have a surprise for me. That is so much food. I'm never going to starve again. And I mean me. Screw the villagers. They might honestly starve and die. Now, in order to harvest flex wood from the cacti, I need a rare axe, but I wasn't quite sure how to craft one, so instead I came up with another idea. Basically, I just needed the brute to destroy the cactus for me, and we essentially do no work besides just trying to stay alive. And it was hard staying alive. Hey, Meowscles. Okay, we're done. We're done. Oh. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Did his fucking hot breath kill me? His hot, stinky breath killed me? Don't even ask me what I was doing here. Oh! I think sprinting drops the barrel. It was morning by the time I got my stuff back, since this desert is a pretty long walk, like I mentioned before. Which, to be honest, sucks because there's a lot of important stuff in the desert that you need. And I spent a lot of time going back and forth. Anyways, with that flex wood, I crafted a brand new shield, and I also crafted a cool-headed charm, which not only gives us more hearts, but it increases our resistance to heat, meaning we can now go into lava caves for all those juicy, expensive ores without dying. Kind of. I still needed to bring some snowberry shakes with me to not take damage, but hey, close enough. Day 42, I expanded the farm a little bit more thanks to the grinder. Day 43, I spent harvesting rough amber in the mesa, and when I got back, I instantly crafted a gem cutter to cut amber, as well as a loom, which I guess made the recipe for a glider to appear in my crafting bench, since it requires silk fabric and wool fabric. This item is pivotal for getting around the map way faster, especially in the desert since they have those water spouts that send you vertically up. So this was definitely on top of my to-do list. I also was able to craft a rare pickaxe, which should let us farm anything in the lava caves. Now wool is kind of hard to get just because these guys sometimes only drop 1 or 2, but still the glider is a pretty cheap item to craft, which is odd since it doesn't have durability. Once you have this thing, that's it. You keep it forever. The different machines I had in my storage area were kind of bothering me, so I made this pavilion in between that and the campfire, and this is where I'm going to keep all my machines at. Well, not all of them. Just the ones that have to do with stone and crafting. The grill, the spinning wheel, the loom, the juicer, and the grinder are all in their respective places. I also did this little step thing again, as it was just a tad too high to just walk in. And by the time the pavilion was done, so was all my fabric, so the glider was finally ours. It may not feel like it for you guys, but that wool was annoying to get. Alright, time for the moment of truth. Okay, now really for the moment of truth. Oh, that is going to be so useful for traveling back and forth. Speaking of which, I went back to the desert since I now have a rare axe which can now harvest flexwood. So no more dying to the brute's stinky breath trying to get this stuff. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is so much fun. And since we could just build a stairway to heaven, getting back to camp has never been easier. Now, the next couple of days was me just exploring and gathering resources. Things like that. But here is where my obsession with getting a plane kicks in. If you remember, I said I wanted to build a plane. That was one of my top goals, but this was no easy task. I started with this thing I saw on TikTok. Basically, at this point in the game, you can't really craft anything to steer your aircraft, so we have to do things a little bit differently. I started off with this dynamic foundation. Then I made these thrusters and an activation switch. The activation switch will turn on every thruster, which is the problem. We don't want to turn on every thruster all at once. So we make these pillars, put some wood on them, and they're supposed to fall in these holes I left. But the problem is they sometimes don't go in the hole correctly, and I have to put thrusters and activation switches before I break the pillars. And they're pretty expensive as they require blast powder, which you get from the skellies in the desert, which also happens to be very far away. And this right here is what I'm talking about. It's supposed to fit nice and snug, but sometimes they don't. And basically, I went down a rabbit hole of trying to get this thing to work for days, and I mean days. Because every time it failed, the thrusters would break, or I'd have to break them because I couldn't get them to fit. Meaning I had to travel back and forth to get more blast powder every time, but the blast powder, like I said, can only be gotten at night since that's when skellies spawn. So you can see how this would be extremely time consuming, especially since I'm not directly next to the desert. And somewhere earlier in the process, I even got it to work. And the next step would be to get it on a trailer with these wheels to put thrusters on the bottom of it, to actually get it airborne. But then a new problem arose. Actually getting it on the trailer. And this took some days until somehow I worked up the strength to push this thing all the way up. But even still, this thing was just breaking and breaking, so I had to keep going back to the desert at night. I mean, literally look how broken this thing is. Oh my god! Oh my god, it just went flying. We might be able to get it. No. Stop moving. Stop moving. Stop. Whatever, you get the gist. This took me 10 whole days and eventually I gave up. Sort of. I'll be back in a little bit. Meanwhile, on day 61, it was time to go into the lava caves. I made sure to place a bed down just outside in case I died, and I brought a ton of snowberry shakes for the heat. In these caves, we can mine ruby, copper, bright core, and obsidian, all of which are very important, especially bright core, since that's how we smelt ores. Another cool thing is you can find different brute scales and chests down here, so you don't even have to fight any the entire game. The enemies in here weren't too bad, but they have some sick aim. Whoa! Oh, that man chucked the perfect No! What? It was day 63 when we got back home, and I immediately put obsidian in the stone cutter because that's what we needed for our next village upgrade. Finally, we were level 9. And level 10 was right around the corner, as it was the same resources, just more of them. In between this, I did go back to working on the aircraft by laying thrusters on the bottom. And I somewhat made a contraption to trap the block that wouldn't go into the hole. And surprisingly, it worked. And with a balloon on each corner, we were ready to test drive it. Oh my god. Oh my god, it worked. Oh my god. Oh my god. Left. Too much left. Thruster up. Yeah. Let's go. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't turn right since the lever glitched and went into the front, but hey, it was working. That is until... But hey, I kept it in place. No! No! What just happened? My thruster. I also accidentally broke the thruster that was making us airborne. No! No! But at least we landed safely. Right? I mean, after 15 days, you know, I'll take it. In order to get max level on our village, I did need to go back to get more obsidian, but once I was back, we did the thing, and there she is. Our village is maxed out. And with that, we get access to this really nice looking house that I decided to place next to my storage room. It did take a while to complete, but to be honest, it was worth it. As always, I did do the stair thing with the wooden floors. See, I told you guys the wooden planks in between the plants were useful. Picking berries has never been easier. Since I finally got an epic axe, I was able to grab some frost pine from the nearest snow biome. It's crazy that even with an epic axe, it still takes a crazy amount of time to chop down though. When I got back home, I did start making some spicy burgers in the grill because I was still cold while being in the snow biome. And it was very clear I was still not ready to be here yet because with one swipe of the Skelly's blade, I was sent back to spawn right then and there. I was at half health, but still. That guy's sword is no joke. While in the snow biome, I went to go find an ice cave, and these are no joke either. I was freezing on entry, but even with the spicy burger, I was still cold. Regardless, I stayed cold and explored because this is a long walk from base. All these caves are kind of the same, but these caves have these skelly dogs, and they're pretty tough. But they drop cursed bones, which we need. Unfortunately, I accidentally got under my stair when I went to hit one, and well, one lunged at me and ate me. I was near full HP. Thankfully, I did put a bed outside the cave. The only problem now was we spawned with 3 hearts and it's freezing cold in here, so we're on a time limit. Plus, it was pitch black in there. The good news was I guess you keep the glider when you die, so we are able to pick up our bag in time, and I was able to eat something in time as well, and then I ate the burger for the cold resistance. Honestly, I was kind of scared in the moment. It was clear I was not ready for these dead dogs. My bow wasn't doing anything, and eventually I did run out of arrows, but I needed to get down there, and there was about 4 of them. And when I finally killed one, his friends ate his remains, which I needed. Eventually, I kind of just made a run for it with stairs so I could just start mining what I came here for, like this sapphire. I couldn't explore everything though since my sword broke and I had no more arrows, so I did have to head back. I did look at some of the charms to see what things I needed for them, and these were expensive. We needed gems, the cursed bones, and even brute scales for some of these. But I needed these charms if I was ever going to fight a brute. So instead, I settled for an inner fire charm since it was much cheaper. I also crafted this charm of resilience just so we have an easier time in those ice caves. Now I had a lot more health, but this Arctic dog still hurt a ton. And god, do I hate being chased in any video game. I should use stairs more often. Now I did craft a better bow just for these dogs, but I did have to go down to grab the cursed bones so that the other dogs wouldn't grub on them. This of course was very risky and led to my death a bunch of times. Finally we got the last dog and now I could actually mine in here. So I stocked up on a bunch of iron, sapphire, and even some frost shells. After that, I headed back home, realized I didn't have all the resources for any of the epic charms, and plopped down this cabin as filler for the village. Then I took the one I was staying in down, as well as the first shack I ever made, to put this house behind it. I also wanted to put this lonely lodge on the other side of town. Don't know what it was going to be for, but it looked nice. Apparently there's enchantments in this game, so I got down to that quick. These enchantments were pretty cheap aside from the blast core, and I ended up putting an essence of luck, damage, and durability on my sword. And then I put an essence of damage and durability on my tools. Although the damage on tools doesn't matter, as it doesn't work on mining things, which sucks. It only works on damaging enemies, but why would I damage an enemy with a pickaxe? On day 79, I came crawling back to the hellhole that is trying to fly in this game. It was a similar design, but I had a big thruster in the back this time. Of course, I did have to go back and forth getting more blast powder with my new lucky iron sword, but this aircraft only took me a day to build. Big improvement from the last one. And just like that, we're airborne. She was working. Finally. No! That's gonna be a rough landing, ladies and gentlemen. No! Luckily, I was able to just hop on again, and steering was working fine. She works! Oh, that's amazing, dude. For now, it was just a problem with me glitching through the plane. God, man, these things are just too buggy. What? Now, I thought it just exploded in midair, but apparently this was just a visual glitch in the moment. Regardless, she somewhat worked for now, so I plopped some chests on top to test if it would break the aircraft, and it was fine. Now I could transport resources wherever I went, at least for a little while. So I went to go grab some bright core, stuffed some in the chest, and went on my merry way back home. This thing was cruising. It is so much faster than walking or gliding. Until... Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. No. Oh. It looks like the ship broke down again, guys. What? You know, this is the equivalent of me driving my car and it breaking down on the highway every morning on my way to work. I was definitely done working on that aircraft. They just don't work at this point in the game. Anyways, the trip to the lava caves actually gave me 2 brute scales from a chest, so I was able to craft up an epic health charm. And this gave me so many hearts and defense. I then decided to organize my storage system since we got access to bigger chests, and I created a second smelter since it takes unbearably long to smelt a single piece of ore. The grappler item also popped in my crafting bench, which was huge, as pairing this with the glider would be way easier for travel. I also forgot to grab malachite from the snow biome, as I thought it was in the caves, but it's actually up here in the mountains. Frost shells were also needed, so I was using my lucky essence sword. But to be honest, this enchantment barely works for mob drops, so why even have it in the game? With malachite slabs, we can now craft another charm. The charm of resilience, which gives us more defense if we get hit. With that, there was only one more charm, or at least one more charm that I wanted, the regeneration one. And that thing was expensive, requiring 1 frost brute scale, so I needed to be prepared. On day 87, I needed to finish that lonely lodge I started, and this took so much wood. By the morning of day 88, it was finally complete. All we needed to do was make some more steps, and she's done. After that, I finished up making all the cords I needed for the grappler. You can see how useful it is when gliding right after. It says it has 30 uses, but if you just leave the game and come back, the uses actually reset, which is great. Now, I immediately got back to work digging a bunch of soil in front of my farmhouse because I needed to finish this farm. I started with more floors and then started growing spicy peppers next to the snowberries. This was like an on and off again thing, just because getting animal poop to make the soil patches takes an extremely long time. So I took a break in between to fight a sand brute, specifically the one that broke all that flex wood earlier for us. Take a warning shot. The warning shot. Arrows were doing good, but then he lunged his hot breath at me and I dodged off my save point. See, I told you guys this grappler would be useful. I'm coming in hot. Oh, I am coming in hot. Oh, I didn't mean it. And this brute was not messing around. Oh, slap juice again. No! That shield did not block anything. Oh my god. His aim is so good, he predicted where I would go. What a shot. He even led that shit. Hey, I will not. hesitate to farm glass powder. Oh my god! I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Quick escape. Whoa! Oh, that hurt. No! I did almost bite the dust, but overall, it was a pretty easy fight. You just have to dodge, dodge, and dodge. I did try my looting sword on him, but he only gave me 1 sand scale, so it might not even work against them. I was pretty confident, so I went to go find a frost brute, and it took some time, but once I did, I stuck mainly to range attacks, and that was that. This was a long way from home, though. But just look at that combo between grappler and glider. Who needs a plane? Fuck those things. Once I got home, I wasted no time with that frost scale and finally crafted the ultimate charm, regeneration. Although I'll be honest, it's pretty slow and it doesn't regenerate anything. But hey, it's my trophy. Now, I've pretty much done everything I set out to do at the start of these 100 days, so for the last couple of days, I just kind of messed around with furniture, trying to decorate as much as possible in these houses. I even created a bathroom so the locals can stop peeing and pooping in the forest. I also wanted some street lights in here, but they just don't light as well as campfires do. Oh hey Aura, you like your new room? And then I tried to finish up the farm with some wheat. Oh, and this fence surrounding it. And with that, my 100 days of LEGO Fortnite was over. I took one last look at the town from my lookout, and man, she was beautiful. All my hard work in one little box. I think it's finally time I gave myself a long nap. At least until the next video. Subscribe!